Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good morning. 3 months ago in Ankara, Professor Nebi Miss and I signed a memorandum of understanding to formalize and deepen linkages between our institutions, signifying a crucial milestone. The formal exchange was witnessed by none other than Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim himself and President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The signing was not an overnight affair, for we had been in contact at various levels for some time. But the engagement wasn't deep enough. Virtual meetings just don't cut it. I mean, we've had enough of that during the pandemic. So, hence, it was when Professor Nebi and I finally met physically in his office in Ankara, a prelude, of course, to Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's official visit to Turkey, that we actually got the deal done. I was particularly impressed by the depth and breadth of strategic research undertaken by our Turkish counterpart, SETA, and of course the other institutions that I visited later. Now, Turkey possesses a formidable community of experts in international relations and security studies. It would therefore be a missed opportunity not to strengthen our ties with SETA. Ladies and gentlemen, foreign policy may be shaped by a select few, but its consequences are borne by many, often across generations. In a world defined by borders, a country's policies can either determine refuge or spell ruin, not just for thousands, but even for millions. It also reflects the character of those who drive it, whether generous or self-serving, trusting or fearful, humane or indifferent. Increasingly, we witness the force of the few overwhelming the consensus of the many. Now, that is a bad equation. Now, we are told that power dynamics of current geopolitics points to one doctrine, and that is that might is right. Indeed, that is an ancient notion and, to my mind, a failed philosophy. When we concede that power is the only criterion for justice, then we are guilty of abandoning a rules-based order, a paradigm in geopolitics which we have genuinely and generally agreed to be a workable system to guide global governance. But when we surrender our principle that the rule of law, in accordance with universally accepted standards, must prevail over the law of the jungle, then we have set ourselves for failure in diplomacy. Weighed down by the arbitrary and reckless use of power, diplomacy indeed becomes what we call a Sisyphean effort. In such a climate, peace becomes ever more elusive and prosperity an ever-fading mirage. Yet, it is in these moments of strain and unpredictability that we must look elsewhere for guidance and strive even harder. For there is another kind of power, quieter and yet more enduring, rooted not in suspicion but trust, sustained not by discord but a meeting of the minds, and fortified not by resistance but cooperation. It is this gentle power that allows nations and institutions to shape outcomes through understanding and shared purpose. It is also this very conviction that underpins our work at ISIS Malaysia, and which brings us together for this dialogue today. And a momentous one indeed, as we join hands with our Turkish counterpart, the SETA Foundation, in pursuit of shared objectives. At ISIS Malaysia, we focus on shaping the strategic direction of Malaysia's foreign and domestic policies. We play a complementary role in our policy ecosystem, conducting independent research, engaging stakeholders across government and society, sharing insights enough and through the media, and conveying dialogues and convening them such as these. Ladies and gentlemen, relations between Malaysia and Turkey trace back not decades, but centuries, long before our modern nation-states emerged. They were interrupted by colonization, moments of history, collapse of empires, but formal ties eventually were re-established in 1964. In February 2025, the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership forged in 2022 was strengthened through the establishment of the High-Level Strategic Cooperation Council, which held its inaugural meeting earlier this year. This broader deepening of engagement is also evident in our economic ties. Now, it is a matter of great significance that Turkey's first free trade agreement with an ASEAN member was with Malaysia. Today, bilateral trade stands around USD 5 billion annually, with, of course, ambitions to double this in the years ahead. Despite these strong foundations, however, gaps in mutual understanding remain. Addressing these gaps is therefore essential, and herein lies the crucial role of ISIS-SETA institutional partnership. In furtherance of deeper Track 2 cooperation across economic and cultural domains, this dialogue, we will aim to bring together expert perspectives to foster more informed and mature public discourse on Malaysia and Turkey's interests and our respective roles in the international system. This inaugural dialogue also places a spotlight on West Asia, home to some of the world's oldest civilizations, a region which serves as a geographic, historical, and cultural and economic bridge between Malaysia and Turkey. Restoring peace and preventing future conflict in the region remains deeply challenging. Yet, this cannot deter our efforts. We hope that this dialogue contributes, even modestly, to advancing in more than just international order, and one where volatility of raw power gives way to the predictability of settled norms, where chaos must take a backseat to order and stability, and, most crucially, where the rights of the weak, the marginalized, and the vulnerable are safeguarded without compromise. On that note, I look forward to the discussions ahead and wish everyone a productive and rewarding Kuala Lumpur-Ankara dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Faiz.